During the summer 2020 Tokyo Olympics, I fell in love with Sunisa Lee. Watching her stand atop pedestals receiving love and medals was so surreal to me, it felt like I was dreaming. To watch someone who looked like me, who spoke the same language I did, who had relatives that reminded me so much of my own, was the most comfort I had ever felt watching my TV. But a sharp pain from a wound buried deep in my heart would sound no matter how much I tried to drown out the noise. It would make me wonder if Suni dealt with the woes of being a Hmong child like I and many other Hmong children have faced. I wondered if sometimes it was hard to love a culture that seemingly confined her into a trope of being a docile, loyal, quiet child, and what would happen if she was anything less with no dreams allowed. Just a duty to serve her family, and hopefully become a docile, loyal, quiet wife in due time. I wondered if sometimes she looked back on her past and shuddered from the thought of having to wake up each morning and having to tell herself to survive just one more day until those one more days landed her in a home without ruined drywall, tear-soaked pillowcases, and silent suffering. I wondered if she dealt with the same wounds I did, or if she was just lucky enough to be the exception. But then I realized that Sunisa Lee should be the rule and not the exception. That yes, we should be happy for her successes, but also we should use it to drive our point home that we as Hmong children should be allowed to grow. She should be a lesson to Hmong parents that this is what happens when you allow your children the space to dream, instead of making their home a battleground that they can't win until they run away from it altogether, just to find themselves in another situation fighting for their lives because no one ever showed them how they deserve to be treated. She should be a role model to Hmong children that this life that they feel isolated in is not normal, and the ones who raise us should not use tradition as a vessel to harm us and blame us for when we refuse to partake in tradition because of the wounds still fresh on our bodies. For decades, we have suffered in silence, and that suffering has only translated into untamed trauma and further pain. Having to talk about it now is terrifying, but Sunisa Lee being propelled into the spotlight has given Hmong people unwarranted attention, this pandemic giving us unnecessary stares and stipulation, so we have to talk about this now, or we may never get a chance to climb from the depths of isolation onto a stage for us to share with the world our experiences and show them how to support us on our pathways to prosperity. That same prosperity that our ancestors fought and died for, which now all feels like some lie because of the rope that we felt restricted around our souls, blurring the lines between our ancestors wanting to keep us safe or wanting to control us. I think over the years we've all lost sight of what that main goal was. Their trauma and suffering so catastrophic that their only love language is to instill that same violence and fear among those they're set to protect. But her dedication to Hmong people is a testament that no amount of violence, pain, and suffering will be able to have the same results as letting us continue to see where our dreams lead. Sunisa Lee shows us that we can take up space in any room that we enter, and that life should not be about merely surviving, but thriving through our culture and its traditions, our society and its faults. Maybe Sunisa Lee hasn't experienced all the injustices Hmong people have been through, but she is the start of making sure that what we've experienced will not continue.